I started, I'm sorry. On time. I started early. Forgive me. I'm back to this. It's not time yet. I can pregame, though. Did you use the word pregame over here? No? Yes? Okay. Yes. Yeah, Wales does, the rest of you don't, or something. But I used to have a Welsh girlfriend. I just had a flashback. Yeah, I know about your culture. Okay. Camera guy's still here. Hello, German camera guy. Hello. That's BBF TV. Whoa. I'm in stereo. Yay. That's BBF, by the way. You ever hear about the great cameraman BBF? That's him. Oh, he's so shy. We got a spotlight. Yeah. Nope, 2.5 minutes to go. I'm pre-gaming, I told you, yes. Look. Yeah. And they're even sensitive to the American education system. It's good vintage. Wednesday. Actually, that's a strange thing. When people sniff the cork, it should smell like a cork. They don't know what the hell they're doing. If the cork is, you feel the cork. If the cork is dry, if it crumbles, send it back. That means the wine has probably been corked. It has reacted with the cork. If there's, mold growing on the cork, you send it back. If the cork looks like wine and smells like wine, congratulations, it came from a bottle of wine. Yay. It's the little light is broken on my fingers. The number of times I've spoken into the glass and sipped the microphone. Funny part is nobody's walked out yet. You guys are great. I have. As a comic, I will sometimes taste the cork and then spit it in the guy's face. It's funny unless he's French. The joke falls flat if the guy's French, believe me. Or German, or Swiss, or Belgian, or South African, or Australian. Don't do that. You're going to... there we go. Okay, yes, it is time. Thank you all for coming. I am Dr. Samuel Conway. They call me Uncle Kage for whatever reason, I don't know. And I basically get up on stage and get drunk until I fall down. Thank you very much. And I make face noise up here, and I just keep doing it and go through until. But you see, I was bitching about this earlier, because normally they give these performances at night as a kind of courtesy to the performer, so he can go through several bottles and get shit-faced and fall down. But it's frickin' 1 PM. I cannot fall down just yet. I still have an entire day ahead of me, so I'm probably only going to go through maybe this bottle and half of another one. So we'll keep it slow, okay? And I'm very, very self-conscious. Leave it to fate. This is what happens. 2 days before leaving for this wonderful country, I actually broke a tooth. It hurt like hell. And left this gap here. And I ran as quickly as I could to the dentist to get something done about it. And I said, he said, you can make an appointment for whatever. I said, no, you don't understand. I am going to be traveling. I'm going to be giving a performance on stage. I don't want to be all like snarly toothed and gap toothed and blah, blah, blah. You got to help me. He said, where are you going? I said, well, England. And he said, Anyway, and as I said, I've been learning all sorts of new words. I will be, if anybody is going to SunnyCon in Sunderland, in 3 weeks I'm going to be back there. I learned what a Geordie is, that's all. You know, it's like, I always thought a Geordie was a kind of car, but it's not. It's a guy who's built like a car is what he is. With the Geordies and the Chavs, there was one disappointment for me because, again, I'm American. You know, geography, not our strong suit. When they told me it's in Sunderland, I looked it up and I thought, oh, it's on the beach. Yay! So I packed my bathing trunks, my Speedos, and my suntan oil, and my towel, and my umbrella, and everything. And I got there, and I ran out of the hotel onto the beach, and I was like, wow. Okay. This is a little different from, Atlantic City. We don't have Viking longboats mired in the ice out there. So I never actually got to have my tan under the coconut palms that I was so excited about. But, oh well. But I do travel a lot. They fly me all over the world to do just this, and I really don't even know what I do. I mean, you can get this for free at the bar for the cost of a glass of your really shitty wine. There, I said it, but that's what you get. I still remember it was, oh boy, has it been 10 years? Holy cow, God, I'm old. I think it was 10 years ago I got a telephone call. That's how old it was. It was a phone call from the chairman of what is now called ConFuzzled in Australia. He called me up and said, yeah, we want you to come down here. And I said, me? Why? He said, we want you to get drunk and fall down. Oh, okay. All right. Whatever, if you want to pay for it, I'll do it. So I've been going to ConFuzzled almost every year, and it is a lovely convention in an interesting continent. You have all heard people say that everything in Australia is trying to kill you. It's true. It's true. I mean, you cannot take 3 steps without box jellyfish dropping out of the trees and trying to eat your brain or whatever they do. This past year, just a couple months ago in January, summertime down there. Do you guys know what summertime is? Okay, you've seen that? Okay, you saw that once when you were kids. When we were still doing nuclear testing in the Pacific. Anyhow, I was down there, and they had moved to a beautiful new hotel in Melbourne, and it's on the Yarra River. Now, they make fun of the Yarra because they say, oh, it's a filthy, dirty, whatever. Okay, I'm from Philadelphia. I know filthy rivers, okay? The Yarra, to me, looked very picturesque and beautiful. It had nice green slopes going down to it. And I wanted to see it. It's picturesque, and I'm a tourist, right? So I looked. There was this long set of wooden stairs that went down the slope to a little landing at the bottom. Oh, that's for me. So I got out my smarty phone with the camera feature, and I went down the stairs. Oh, boy, there's a long stairs. Got down to the bottom, and I looked up the river this way and took a photo. I looked up the river that way and took a photo, and then got the panoramic thing going because I'm a tourist, right? It was pretty. And as I was turning to go, this little landing was maybe half as wide as this stage. There was a rail on the stairs, and right at the bottom, where the stairs started, somebody had taken some wire and a piece of paper and made a sign that they had wired to the rail that said, "Warning, a 1-meter tiger snake lives under the wooden stairs. They are deadly and territorial. It will stand its ground." And I said, well, that's nice. How charming. Would have been nicer if they'd put the sign at the top of the stairs before I came down here. You know, everything in Australia is trying to kill you, even the people who make the signs. I had a lovely, lovely time at ConFuzzled, but it was spoiled. Those of you who went to the first FurryCon panel, I am serious. You need to take care of yourself. I guess I didn't take care of myself. I got the con crud. And oh boy, the Sunday of ConFuzzled, I didn't just have a sniffle. I was running a fever. In your numbers, I think I was running like 49 degrees or something like that. You know, sweating profusely, could barely walk, but I had a story hour and an auction to do that afternoon. And damn it, I did it, because that's what I do. So I did the story. My voice was giving out. Halfway through the auction, I got the microphone. I'm like one of those cancer people. Yeah, next. And I got all the way through the auction. It was Sunday. It was 5 p.m. I was due to leave the next day. I was finished. I was just done. I had to go to my room. I just collapsed on the bed, and I'm staring at this. The whole room was spinning. My body is racked with fever like I had malaria. And I was thinking to myself, everything in Australia is trying to kill you, even the air. The next day I thought, after a good night's sleep, it will be fixed. No, the next day I was just, again, could hardly walk, but I had to get to the airport. So I put on a game face, stiff upper lip, you like to say that, right? Stiff upper lip and everything, put on my best suit. Got my ride to the airport, trying very hard to keep myself conscious. Got onto the plane. Some people looked at me a little funny. I said, I'm very, very tired. I didn't sleep well. So I said, don't worry. And I thought the sleep that I would get traveling across the Pacific, sleep. Yeah, that didn't work. When I got to the United States, I got off the plane, and my shirt was, I could wring it out. I was sweating so hard. And I knew that my face was beet red, and I was actually having trouble breathing. And I walked by, and they had these giant signs that said, if you show any sign of illness, report to a health officer. Okay, I'm a scientist. I know what they're worried about, Ebola. I know this ain't Ebola. I don't think it was Ebola. I didn't pay attention to the sign. Okay, let's leave it at that. I figured if nobody stops me, and one did. Guy in uniform stepped down and said, excuse me, sir, do you feel all right? Okay, this is where being a comic comes in handy. You can think on your feet. I said, no. Oh, God, no. Do not ever try to match shot for shot with Australian Marines. They will win. Is that waste bin full? You might want to roll it over here. He said, move along, sir, move along. But I found out later, that was dangerous. I only found out later, Australia doesn't have a Marine Corps. Oops. Thankfully, this was an American I was talking to. Who knew, right? Pardon me. I go to Germany every year. I love going to Germany. I like Germany because the area of the United States I grew up in, the state of Pennsylvania, looks very much, it's very similar to Germany, so it reminds me of home. It was originally settled by Germans till you lot came and kicked their asses out, but and we still have, a lot of German-sounding names. You got German-sounding little town here next to a Welsh-sounding town. And then the Swedes came in and kind of mixed everything up. Nobody knows what the hell is going on in Pennsylvania, but it's pretty, okay? Leave it at that. So that's why the Germans settled there. It looked like home. So Germany looks like home. Maybe castles, okay, different. We don't have those home. But since I do travel to Germany every year, I would kind of have thought that my credit card company would get the idea. Okay, it's not their fault. It is not their fault. Have you ever had your credit card, like somehow the number got somewhere where it wasn't supposed to be? I use my credit card sparingly. Let that be a lesson to you. Use it sparingly. And I got a phone call one day from the credit card company saying, excuse me, sir, are you Dr. Conway? I said, yes, I very much am. And they said, what is your, social this and address and zip code and your blood type and DNA this. So I identified myself and they said, are you trying to buy $18,000 worth of shoes in Seattle? I said, lady, I don't got that many feet. Who the fuck got my card? Imelda Marcos? What's going on here? She said, it's okay, we'll cancel that. So I got the new card. I was very, very careful with it. And I was planning my trip to Germany. And I used my card, and I made an airplane reservation to flight to Germany and back. And then I used the card to make a hotel reservation in Germany. And I'm going to be at a hotel reservation in Germany. And then I used the card to make a rail reservation, and it came back declined. And I called up, and the lady said, it looked like fraud. I said, why? She said, well, somebody was trying to use your card in Germany. I said, okay, ma'am, look at the 2 transactions just before that. Tell me what you see. And I heard click, click. Oh. Yeah. American, who knew? By the way, a lot of people, they think that I make my stories up. I don't have to. Believe me, I don't have to. We have a saying in my country, shit happens. They mean me. Shit happens to me. Was anybody here, I think it was maybe 5 or 6 years ago, when one of the times I was a day late. You remember that? Because US Airways had that little problem with the airplane. I never realized that if you turn the front landing gear of an Airbus A330, you can snap it off. You know, who built that? The French. Who knew? I don't know, but see, I always thought the front landing gear was designed to turn. Not this one. They were always going to land perfectly straight, but so landing gear snapped off. The plane was late and everything. And I think I told in that story about the lovely British couple that I befriended, the Varleys, grand people. And I helped them out because what does US Airways do? They get all of their people out of the building. And from a distance, they make an announcement that, okay, the flight is canceled. There is a card sitting at the unmanned desk. Use that telephone number, and then you can make a new reservation. Well, the number is a toll-free number. We call it an 800 number in my country. It only works if your cell phone is from my country. Half the people on that flight were British. Their phones would not work. And I, being 1, an American, 2, being a furry, and 3, being completely pissed out of my mind, stood up on a chair, and I don't know how I stayed balanced. And I shouted, ladies and gentlemen, if you would be so kind, that telephone number cannot be phoned from a British telephone. We have a lot of people here need some help. If you have an American cell phone, please be kind enough to let the person next to you use it. And the funny part is, everybody did. Say what you will about Americans, but occasionally we get it right. Like World War II. Anyway. Too soon. But anyway, I kept in touch with the Varleys. They're lovely, lovely people. If you think I make up my stories, come to the bar at 3 o'clock tomorrow. They found out I'm coming to Birmingham. They're coming to visit me tomorrow at 3. You can meet them and ask them for yourself if my stories are true. No. Oh, I don't think they drink, so if you're going to buy a drink for them, just give it to me. These are, they're all, they got fingerprints on. I hate this shit. They got fingerprints on them. Can you unfingerprint that? Thank you so much. I could have done that. Thank you. Now they got more fingerprints. How'd you do that? I get snide remarks from people because about 10 years ago, I actually had laser eye surgery so that I can get rid of these things. Yeah. Now they're back. And people say, I thought you had your eyes fixed. Yes, and then I got fucking old. Look. See this? They call this the face of furry fandom. You need a new one. I'm getting it all wrinkled. So yeah, these had to come back, particularly because reading is getting difficult. You know, without them, It'll happen when you pass 50. Yes, I'm past 50. You don't have these things. People hand you something and you do this sort of thing. Oh, yeah, okay. The laser surgery, that actually was one of my favorite stories. Memorable, very, very memorable. Who would think that it would be a memorable experience to have a giant death ray fired into your eyeball? Would you like to know? I thought you'd say that. What pandering? God, I'm a shit. Anyway, I wanted, my eyes were, I had glasses that, wow. It was actually causing me neck problems. The glasses were so heavy, pulling my head forward. So I went to the eye doctor. Bless you. I went to the eye doctor, and I said, what are my options? And the doctor said, well, you have two options. And he went over to an old-fashioned record player, and he set on Chopin's Funeral March. And he said, you can have LASIK surgery, in which case we will take a blade and we will cut a flap into your eyeball and lift it up and scrape away some of the eyeball tissue. And then we'll let the flap drop back down. And if it heals, you will have probably okay vision, although you'll still have a defect for the rest of your life. I said, okay. And then he put another record on. This was nice, happy, light, bouncy music, like rave music, calliope music. He gets on and says, or you can have photoreactive keratectomy, PRK. It's the latest thing. We shall take a gentle, very, very carefully focused laser, and we're going to just gingerly remove just a few molecules from the very outside surface of the eye, and you'll be able to see perfectly for the rest of your life with no problems. I said, okay, let me think about this one at home for a while, all right? So, okay. I went home and I thought about it right there. I said, let's do the PRK, all right? So he made an appointment, and I came in. Anybody here ever bought a car? You know how when you buy a car, they tell you about all the wonderful features and everything? Then when you actually go to pick the car up, you notice some things, and they say, oh, yeah, they do that. Yeah. So I went in, I'm all excited. I'm going to have perfect vision. This is going to be great. This is going to be wonderful. And the little nurse lady came out, and she had a little pill. And she said, this is for you. I said, wow, I like this office. What's this for? And she said, oh, it's going to hurt a lot. No, I'm not having the slice and the lift. I'm having the gentle. She said, you're having PRK? I said, yes. She said, here. I said, well, he didn't tell me that. She said, well, what did you expect? He's going to burn the entire front of your cornea away with a laser. I said, is this a painkiller? She said, no, it's to calm you down. I'm going to need this. Thank you very much. Get me a glass of wine to wash it down with, shall we? So I took it, and I took this little pill, and I'm sitting there, and I was when that? I took the damn thing 10 minutes ago. So, excuse me, nurse lady, the pill that I took, how much shit did you give me there? And she said, 0.5 milligram. See this? Yeah, I'm a fucking chemist. I'm in pharmaceuticals. And I said to the lady, excuse me, I'm a fucking chemist. I'm in pharmaceuticals, right? 0.5 milligram? I don't know what the hell you think 0.5 milligram of anything is going to do. But whatever the hell you gave me, you're gonna. He's ready, doctor. Excuse me. So they took me into this room. Now, I don't know if any of you remembers a somewhat obscure film called Mars Attacks. Remember the giant death ray, 3 stories high, aimed at the little old lady? I went in the room, and they put me in this chair, and they rolled it back, and they took this whopping great clamp me, brothers, and cracked open me eye. And it's like holding it open like this, and then this one, and I'm sitting there, and the lady comes up with these drops and starts putting drops in my eyes. And the doctor said, "Would you like to listen to some music?" I said, "Yes, I brought my own. Here. Ludwig van, Ninth Symphony." Some of you are educated. So he put it in there, and then the procedure began, and I said, "Oh God, it's a sin! It's a sin, not the ninth! It can't be the ninth!" Just kidding. Oh, keep going, I'm having fun. Yeah. So the death ray starts flashing, tack, 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 tack. And I saw smoke. And I said, "Dude, here's smoke." Are your eyes doing that? Lady got this bucket of ice water and dumped it in my eye. 3 liters, if I had to guess. All 3,000 milliliters ran down my face and into my right ear. I was hearing the ocean for a month. But I saw maybe 5 flashes. Now, the laser to me, without these, the laser started out as this big, 4-foot wide starburst in the air. And with just 4 flashes, it went, pew! I was like, wow. And then they did the other one, pew! Dude, he's doing the smoking too. Hey, can we make the smoke different colors? I can market this. Wow. Sell it at Anthocon. Anyway, they, for some reason, didn't want to drive me home. Well, have me drive home, that is. So they called my parents, my mom and dad. And they came along, and the doctor tied a piece of yarn around my waist. And they went outside, and they tied the other piece of yarn to the radio antenna on the car. And they drove home with me just kind of floating along behind the car like this. I don't remember much of the rest of that day. I don't remember any of the rest of that day, actually. From then on in, it just kind of faded. But I remember the next day. The next day can be summed up with 4 words. In that order. Does anybody like to cook? Yeah. You know when you slice onions? You know when you slice onions and then you accidentally do this? You know when you slice onions and pick the onions up and mash them into your eyes? That's what I'm talking about. My eyes were burning. I mean, it was like there was still smoke. I could still see the smoke coming out of my eyes. This only lasted 2 days. Now, the doctor had prescribed a different little pill. I wanted him to give me the original pill. Because 0.5 milligram, just give me 4. I'm set for life with those, okay? But he gave me a different one. My family physician years ago once told me, a wise man, The antidote to narcotics is pain. You know, you can fill yourself up with morphine, but if you give a guy enough pain, he's not going to know he's got morphine in him. Whatever these pills were, it weren't no 0.5 milligram. But 2 days later, after dosing myself to sleep, I was out cold. And I felt a tap at my shoulder. And I opened my eyes. And my father was standing there for the first time in my life. I opened my eyes upon waking, and I saw my father clearly. And my God, he was a good-looking son of a bitch, I'll tell you. So people say, is PRK worth it? Okay, it depends. You know, what is your personal tolerance to pain? Are you a masochist? Do you like the idea of those little 0.5 milligram tablets? That's worth it. But I was able to see perfectly for many years. But then 50 hits. 50 usually hits you like an oncoming lorry, let me tell you. So these are here now. This one actually doesn't need it. This one is pretty good. This one is just kind of started to get a little rough. So I need this one just a bit. And when the eye doctor was telling me this, he said, your left eye really doesn't need correction. We're going to have to do a little something for the right. I said, just this one? He said, yes. I said, could you make me a monocle? And he said, I could. I said, how much? He said, $1,500. I said, fuck you. Give me the goddamn glasses, you quack. Oh, well. I really am getting old. I'm now hallucinating. I thought I heard a cell phone go off in my performance. Of course it didn't. Yes. I'm not going to tell you because I got... It was actually Xanax, which I did not realize was quite so potent. Xanax is the sort of thing you're supposed to build up to. 0.5 milligram is like here in the steps. Actually, it was Xanax mixed with something else, like crack. It was Xanax something blend. Anyway, it was good. It was real good. Like I said, age. You start hearing things, your eyes get screwed up. And, okay, I'm a scientist, right? I'm supposed to be smart. When you get old, you start to do things and you have no idea what the hell you're doing. Like driving. Yeah, sometimes. It's like, where the hell am I going? This is Saturday. I don't have to go to work. I'm going back. And it's worse. It's worse. Oh, good Lord, it's worse. It was not that long ago. Actually, this is back shortly after I turned 40. I got up on a Sunday morning, and I was going to have typical American breakfast. You know, dry cereal with milk. That's what Americans generally eat for breakfast. And I went to the refrigerator, and I opened it, and was quite surprised to see a box of cereal in the refrigerator. And I didn't see the milk. If only milk behave like fruit. It doesn't. Oh, no. This was beyond cheese. This cheese was a long time ago. We're talking, French rock concert at this point. It was just... Any French people in the audience, I apologize. I adore French people. Some of my best friends are French. They give me wine. Somebody once said that you don't fuck with Uncle Kage. I don't know why. Many years ago, I could tell you what year it was. But then some dickhead would shout out, "That's before I was born." Yeah, right, I know I'm old, okay? You don't gotta remind me. But I was a teenager. I was a teenager once, you see. And in those days, myself and my late friend Neil, old, we would take our meager earnings. We were geeks, we'd go to the Dungeons and Dragons comic book era. We would take our meager earnings and we would go to a local shopping mall where there was a store called Jean's Books. A nice little local store, Jean's Books. Every week, every Friday, without fail, for years, we would show up, and with a couple of dollars in our pocket, we would look through the books, the latest science fiction books that came out. The first stop was always the comic book store, or as I called it, the cultural literature store. I thought it fooled Mom. No. We would go to the cultural literature store first, and for 15 cents, we'd buy a comic book or two or three. And then we would go to Jean's Books, and we would get a paperback for $1.25, something like that, for years. And one day, the lady who worked at the counter called me over and said, "You boys need to watch yourselves." I say, "Why? What's going to happen? Is there a ceiling tile loose? What?" She said, "Gene thinks that you're stealing from him." I said, "Well, I don't get it. We come in here every single week and we buy books. And we've been doing it since I was younger than I am now." She said, "We always come in with bags from the comic book store. He thinks you're stashing stuff in the bags." I said, "Well, it would seem to me that this is more Gene's problem than mine. Gene apparently is a douche." We used that term then, actually. I think we invented it. So I thanked her very profusely, and we bought our books, and then we went home. And the next week, we went to the comic book store, and we went in our comic book bags, and I was looking. I remember, I was looking at the Ursula K. Le Guin books. Wonderful, author. I love her. And old Gene walked up behind me. And he didn't say anything. He didn't tap me on the shoulder. He put his hand on my shoulder and turned me around. And he said, "Can I see what's in that bag?" And I said, "Why?" And he said, "I just want to see what's in the bag." And there's a lady passing me. I said, "Do you want to see what's in that lady's bag?" And he said, "No, just yours." And I said, "Very well. Knock yourself out." And he looked in the bag, fished through it, handed it back to me. I said, "Thank you very much. Neil, we're getting out of here. Come on." We walked out of the store. We never went back. That bothered me. I don't like people dicking with me like that. I don't like being accused of shit that I am not guilty of. If I am guilty of it, okay. But, I'll give that one to you. It was 20 years later. I was back visiting the town of my youth. My friend Neil was gone by then. Tell you that story. It's a sad one. That's for another day. And I was with a friend, and I happened to see Gene's books. And I said to my friend, that's Gene's books over there. I used to shop there all the time. And there was a man behind me who was having some coffee. He said, oh, yes, Gene's books, finest bookstore in town. And I said, I beg to differ, sir. And he said, oh, what do you mean? I said, let me tell you a story. You ever noticed that when I start telling a story, people start to kind of start gathering? I was getting into it. I was getting into this. I was having a fun time. I was getting all emotional and everything. And this crowd got bigger and bigger, and there had to be 30 or 40 people standing. Then I finally got, and we walked out. We never went back because that loathsome son of a bitch took his best customers and threw us completely out of his life. What a dreadful fellow. I would never give him my custom again. And I said to my friend, come along, we're getting out of here, quickly, come. My friend said, what's the hurry? I said, did you see those people's faces? And he said, yeah, what's the problem? I said, remember the old guy? That was Gene. It took 20 years, but it felt kind of good. I still got time. Anybody here have experience running a convention? You want to buy one? I'll sell it to you cheap, really. I'll give you money for it. I am the chairman of Anthocon. It's currently the largest furry convention in the world. It started out as a party in a dorm room. We never thought Anthocon would become what it has. So I am going to state for the record, and I state this every year, and I want to make sure people understand, I am the chairman. That doesn't mean I run the convention. I've got 250 staff members and an army of volunteers who know exactly what they're doing without me getting in the way. Believe it. I just sign the checks. I also transport the equipment, because a lot of it stays at my house. My house is in the state of North Carolina. Anthocon is in the state of Pennsylvania. To give you an idea, we're looking at roughly the distance from Bordeaux to Glasgow. I got to drive that shit. So 80% of the equipment stays up in Pennsylvania, in the city of Pittsburgh, or if it's your reference, Pittsburgh. So, because they don't understand the other one. Anyway, I still have to take about a metric ton of stuff from my house across the Allegheny Mountains and following up through West Virginia, the Blue Ridge, to Pittsburgh. And every year I rent a little cargo van. Sometimes that's too literal. Last year, coming up on this time last year, I called up the van rental place and I said, I want to rent a cargo van. And the lady said, absolutely, we will have it ready for you on the appointed day. So on the appointed day, I had a friend give me a lift and took me to the truck rental place. And I walked inside. And I said, I'm here for my cargo van. The lady said, oh, yes, just outside. And I went outside. Excuse me, miss, cargo van. She said, yes, right outside. Okay. I don't mean to appear dim, madam, but I don't see it. And she said, it's across the parking lot in the second stall. Okay? Not getting big enough. I said, I don't think that's... she said, that's a cargo van. I said, no, it's a matchbox is what it is. It's not going to be big enough. So she said, well, your alternative is to rent one of the giant box trucks. That'll cost you double. One thing that everyone in the city of Pittsburgh knows is that Uncle Kage is an incorrigible miser. He does not like to spend money. So as soon as she said it will cost you more, that's it, we're finished, end of conversation. I'll pack into this little van what I can, and I will ship the rest by cargo freight. Hopefully we'll get there on time. I'll show you, won't I? So I hopped in and started driving. Now remember, I'm on this side of the van, right? Yes, you got to know that part. Okay, let's come up here. That'd be easier for you to see. Yeah. Yes, I'm on this side of the van. I'm really pissing off the camera guys because they're going to follow me around. And I was driving along, and I kept looking back at the cargo space. And as I was driving, I reached back, and my fingertips were able to touch the rear doors. This ain't gonna work. So I called the lady up on my little cellular telephone, and I said, okay, you win. You win. I'll take whatever you have. This ain't gonna work. So I turned around and I drove back. And when I drove in, clouds were starting to roll in. There was a storm coming. The southern United States is very, very well known for its sometimes very violent thunderstorms. A storm was coming in. The clouds were dark and foreboding, awful shade, hanging pendant by a slender thread, but there was a tiny, tiny hole in the clouds, shining a shaft of heavenly light down upon this full-sized, giant, monstrous, sexy Dodge Cargo Master van. And I could hear the heavenly chorus, conducted by Handel himself. I saw it, I was like, okay, yeah. Oh, ran inside. Hey, that, the one with the light shining on it. Is that meant for anybody? And she said, no, it just arrived. I said, well, gimme. She said, I can't. Okay, I'll bite. Why? She said it's not clean. Miss, I will lick the motherfucker clean. Give me the keys. Now, normally at this point of such a story, I would say, I didn't actually say that, but in this case, I can't say that. She gave me the keys. It was perfect. It was so perfect, it was almost German. It was great. We, by which I mean myself and the one volunteer who showed up to help me, thank you, Chitabango, we packed the stuff inside, and we were finished. The entire van was packed completely from floor to ceiling and panel to panel with one empty square, exactly the size of the final box. When we returned that van, I returned it clean. Kind of had to. Some of you got that one. And I said to the lady, okay, I'm going to be back next year. I'm going to be back next year on June 28th. That van is going to be sitting there, and you're going to hand me the keys. We've got 31 days to go. Let's see how this turns out. I want that van. It's a normal four-wheel van, but it had an air horn under the hood. That was like, okay, even the most cautious, aged, mature driver turns into an asshole when you give him an air horn. I'm driving through traffic. Get the fuck out of my way, man! Sorry, miss. Some people claim that I drive that way all the time. They're not here right now, so I can't address the question. When Anthocon comes and my stuff crew is there, maybe they will. Do you understand what I mean when I say the stuff crew? Bingo. Smart lady. Are you on the stuff crew here by chance? We called them the logistics team. The logistics team. Sounds lovely, doesn't it? Rolls off the tongue. The logistics team. And they got the job because of lack of foresight. Lack of foresight. This trio of stalwart, very, very big-hearted, generous young men took time off to follow me back at the time to my home in Philadelphia to offload everything, which was mostly handled by whatever volunteers showed up. And I was so grateful that they crashed at my house because we got home at 3 in the frickin' morning. And the next morning I took them out to breakfast because I wanted to reward them. And of course, Uncle Kage post-con. These, by the way, these are the chairman fingers. You'll see it in every con chair. Mine go here. The chairman of Midwest Fur Fest, his go here. Cheetah at Eurofurence, his go right across the eyes. The chairman of Rainforest, anyway. All in fun, my good friend, my colleague, it's all in fun. Please edit that out of the YouTube videos. Thank you very much. Anyway, I'm sitting there like... And these fellows, helpful as they are saying, do you go through this every year? And I said... And they said, you know what your problem is? You need an actual dedicated team of staff members whose entire job is to handle logistics. All they do is make sure the stuff gets loaded on time. They're responsible for transport. They would store it on site, and they would then distribute it to all the staff members. And they're saying this, and I said, go on. They kept saying how wonderful it would be. You would need a team, maybe 3, maybe 4 guys, and basically all the stuff would go in this room and all this. And they stopped because they saw me doing this. And they said, and I said, you're hired. They were the logistics team. Their first year. They did good. They did a good job. And I got an email 3 days after the convention was over from the manager of the convention center, the Lawrence Convention Center in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And the email said, what do you want us to do with all this stuff? Stuff. Stuff. I forwarded the email to my logistics team and I simply added, stuff! Some stuff had gotten accidentally left behind. Can happen. Can happen to anyone. Just so happens it happened to them. They have since been known as the Stuff Crew. And they have special vests so that they will never forget that says, "We handle the stuff." And their logo is a cart piled high with boxes, one of which is falling off the edge. I wish I could say I didn't design that logo. But in my country, legally, I don't have to incriminate myself, so. Was that serious? Did you sit on a tack? 2 tacks. See if we can make her do it again. That's my creepy face. Is there something? Reminds me of the time I found a baby bird in the rafters. Go on, I'm liking this. Oh, look out, BBF is after you. Did you get that? Good. Welcome to the highlight reel, my dear. I was going to, is there something in this room at 2? Tip, I believe very firmly in sticking to my time frame. I'm given an hour, but if there's something in this room at 2, we're going to need to turn the room around. So if there's something scheduled in this room... Okay. That means I have 7 minutes. 7 minutes. What can I talk about in 7 minutes? Being old. When you get old, your nervous system also stops working. Your arm just all of a sudden will have no sensation in it. Yay! Welcome to old age. Great, you're a pensioner now. I was having a lot of trouble. Yes. I was having a lot. Actually, no, not with my government. No pensions anymore. But I was having a lot of pain. When I would extend my arm, there would be a lot of pain radiating, shooting up and down my arm. And when I went to sleep, my arm would become numb. Okay, this is a problem. So I went to see my doctor, and the doctor, did a few little poke and prods and said, "You're going to have to see a neurologist." So, okay, I went to the neurologist. I don't mean this to come out the way it does. I am simply describing to you exactly the circumstances that I encountered. It was a fat little Indian man who didn't wear any gloves. I went, and he said, "Oh, good morning, Mr. Conway. We are going to have to give you an electromyogram." I said, "Oh, that's nice. I've never had one of those. What's it taste like?" He said, No. You must sit here. We're going to test the nerve response of your arm." Okay, that's cool. In fact, that's kind of what I came in here for. He went over to this little table, and he pulled out a needle that had a wire hooked up to it that went to an old-fashioned Victrola speaker. And he said, "Now, Mr. Conway, you're going to have to hold very still." Ow! Fuck! Dude, Jesus Christ! He said, "I must find the nerve response." I said, "You found it! Believe me, you fucking found it, okay? That's where the nerve is!" He said, "That's good. Now, I'm going to need you to extend your arm." I said, "No, not with you there, dude, no way." He said, "Mr. Conway, you're going to have to extend your arm. I must see what the nerve response is." So I went, "Nyeh," and the Victrola started to make sound. This thing is hooked up directly to my nerve, my brachial nerve, and I did this, and I heard, whoa. He said, "Okay, now bring your arm up over your head. And put down your side. Up front with." I said, "This hurts like hell, but it's actually kind of cool." He said, "Yes, that's what I think too." Do you like the music? Do you like the Beatles? Listen. I am the Eggman. I am the Eggman. I am the walrus. Cuckoo. I'm like, okay, that's a lot of fun. He said, okay, that's only one nerve. Ow! God damn it! He just keeps stabbing me with these things. He's like, I'm like, just stop it, please. I confessed to bringing down the World Trade Center on my own. He's stabbing me and I'm crying and he's saying, Mr. Conway, you must stop all this. I need you to hold still. You are being a big baby. If you do not stop carrying on, I'm going to put a diaper on you. That's good. Ow! He took it out. I said, okay, what's wrong? He said, your nerves are not working. Oh, get it, just Nobel Prize for you right there. Thank you so much. Well, to his credit, he was able to prescribe a lot of, exercises and everything, which is a little odd. I've been to physical therapists before, but the exercises he gave me all had this weird going on here. You got to put your head up, your ankle behind your head here and everything. But it worked. And thank God for the American medical system. That only cost me $4,000. Good thing I got insurance. That wows them in my country. You guys don't get it, sorry. You don't want to get it, believe me. What's today? Today is the 28th. Has my country elected anybody yet? No? Good. I'm a little scared. Oh, yes, question? Hello, yes? A what? Yes, it is. Thank you. Okay. As I said, I'm old. I go back to a day when we quite literally were afraid that any moment the Russians were going to launch missiles at us. We used to have drills in school. You guys are lucky. Believe me, you're lucky. You don't know the terror of hearing an air raid siren go off in your school, and you have to all go down to the fallout shelter and wonder, is it a drill? Because they wouldn't tell you. Is it a drill this time? I've not heard that for a long, long time. Most of you haven't, and I hope to God you don't. But I have a very, very good friend, a big yellow dragon standing around here somewhere. He lives in Canada, and he told me something that made my blood run cold. Apparently, within the last week, Canada's nationwide emergency alert system sounded an alert for the first time since the Cold War to announce that Donald Trump had won the Republican nomination. God bless America, because we're going to need it. Thank you all very much. You're a very kind audience. Okay, you've had your hour. Piss off.